bigger bun.
Okay, everybody. Carol Ritchie, Cooking with Carol. I'm making butternut squash hamburgers today. And what you do is you can use frozen butternut squash, which is usually in a package. You just thaw it out in the microwave or cook it according to package directions. And I actually found butternut squash at the market local, and it was 3 for $1. They were huge. So I got a whole bunch of it, baked it off, threw it in the freezer, and then today I just scraped it out of the shell, put it in my food processor, and pureed it up. So it is a pleasure to have fresh pureed. I mean, I'll tell you, it's not difficult, but if you've got something to do, you know, you're like a bunch to do that day, go ahead and just throw that squash in the oven, get her done, and then you have it for the future. So this recipe calls for about 9 tablespoons of this. So you can use the package amount, weigh it, or just measure it out. And 1/2 cup is 8 tablespoons, and if you add 1 extra tablespoon, that is 9 tablespoons. So 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon. All right, now we have self-rising flour, super duper easy. The reason why this recipe was appealing to me is because it just had very few ingredients, so really simple. So I have the self-rising flour, which has your leavening in it and salt. And so you just basically put it into your bowl, and then you add your other ingredients. You add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so it's not a lot of salt. You use about a 1/4 teaspoon of onion flakes or powder. And I'm just gonna shake a little extra garlic in there because I love garlic. And then you'll add your smoked paprika. Now, I just realized that I don't have my smoked paprika with me, but that happens to me all the time. So this is actually cayenne pepper. Haha, folks. I like cayenne pepper, and it really, it'll lifen up it'll spice up your life, folks. It will spice up your life. So I'm gonna add about 1/8 teaspoon of that, but smoky paprika really has an excellent flavor. It's almost like bacony and yummy and goodness. So it's a really good stuff.
Is that what you used in those hamburger buns today?
Yes, I used the smoked paprika not only in the burger, but I used it on the top as well. So a lot of fun, and it just, if I am trimming back fat and I want that, you know, I love bacon to death, so if I'm using something where I'm trimming the fat, you gotta add back flavor and aroma. So you add that smoked paprika, amazing stuff. It's your best secret ingredient. All right, then we'll add our butternut squash. And then just stir it in. Now, the recipe calls for you to knead this a little bit, about 1 to 2 minutes. So how many of you have cooked, you know, many years, love cooking, you've been there, done that, you know, you've cooked a bunch, right? You guys? Okay. So you guys will know this. You know what I'm going to be telling you now is that a lot of cooking is by feel. Do you agree with me on that? It's how it feels. And a lot of people, they don't really know how to, you know, what does it feel like? What is it supposed to feel like? Well, with a biscuit and pie crust, keep in mind that, in my opinion, they have to be handled lightly. And bread dough has to be handled more aggressively. In other words, you need bread dough a little bit more because you're developing the gluten and you want to get it stretchy, and you want to get that gluten formed so it has a nice strong framework. With biscuits and pie crust, you have to have more of a light touch. So with this recipe, and it says to knead it about 1 to 2 minutes, but what I'm doing is just kind of stirring it in here until it's moistened. If you feel it's not moistened enough, you can put your hand in there and just give it a feel. Feels a little dry. Go ahead and add a little more of your butternut squash. That's perfectly fine. And just give that a nice little stir. And then with this one, I'm gonna also try to save you guys a little bit of cleanup, because one thing I've learned later in life is that I like less cleanup. You know, the easier the better. So I have my hand in there, and I'm gonna use this little scraper. You might have one of these at home. They're so convenient, so easy. You can use it to scrape off your hands, but you can actually just give it a little knead right in the bowl. Okay, there you go. And that, folks, is good enough. With a biscuit or a pie dough, you don't want to overwork it, okay? And then I like to use these little cookie scoops because it gives you that portion control. And that's the hardest part for me, is portion control. And you just take that and there you go. And this particular recipe makes about 4 buns. So if you can see, let's see how many I can get out of here with this size scoop. So certainly if it makes more than 4, we know that that scoop is a little small. We might be able to get 6.
Yeah, looks like it.
So does that mean it's less points per biscuit then?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I am trying to, figure out my points and my calories for the day, it's really nice to know what your portions are and then say, you know what, I had a little something earlier today and it was a little bit higher in points. So how can I lessen it? Well, just have half of one, and you'll still be satisfied. So there you go. So I have that right there. These are baked already, so you can see how much they poof up, and that's the same exact size right there. And then I'm just gonna wipe off my hands.
Pop them in the oven.
That's right, you're gonna pop them in the oven, 375 for about 15 minutes or so until they're done. But wait, there's more. I mean, to me, it's all about the glitz. It's all about the glamour. And when I'm doing new recipes for the week, I try not to do a whole lot. I try not to wear myself out.
Let's go.
But I try to think of all the bells and whistles, okay? And this part for me is part of the bells and whistles. Little bit of egg wash. We're gonna take 1 egg, fresh from Mary's Chicken, and we're gonna whisk that up. She's got the best chicken, let me tell you. It's awesome, it's magic. So there you go.
You do the whole egg, not just the egg white?
Yeah, I do. For this recipe calls for a half of an egg beaten. Now, how do you do that, right? You just crack the whole egg, beat it, use half of it for the top and use half of it for eggs in the morning or scrambled eggs. But here's a little trick too. If you want to, if you use just the white, it'll give it shine. And if you use just the yolk, it gives it color. And if you use both, then it gives you shine and color. And don't we want it all? Don't we want it all? Absolutely. So there you go. Now, here's one of my favorite little gadgets. With cooking, I love stuff. I love toys, I love gadgets. And it makes it kind of fun. So, you can get in a real rut with cooking if you don't make it fun for yourself. I always say life is hard enough, cooking should be fun. And just go ahead and drizzle that right on top.
No, you're not gonna flatten those.
Good question. I forgot to flatten them, so thank you.
Also, I thought you could just dig out a hole in the middle and put some kind of a filling that you wanted in for your, if it was feta cheese and a little bit of ham, or I don't know, but I just think you could do a lot with that recipe that would be great.
Well, but it's a hamburger bun.
I know, but it doesn't mean that you can't use it for a different kind of sandwich bun. Just because she calls it a hamburger bun. It's a squash bun or biscuit.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Right there is what I call the great creativity. I mean, if you see someone cooking and you're like, well, that's different than I would do it, or maybe why not try this? That's where the beauty begins. That's where the creativity begins. And it helps you, I think, realize the possibilities of what you can do. And I think that's a great idea. I would absolutely love to do that with these. I think that'd be fantastic.
You're doing that with cayenne pepper?
Yes, I am. I want to be like your beautiful cheese things that you make, Mary. So anyway, we're pretending like that's smoked paprika. But I know it's going to light up our life. But I also use a little pinch of my coffee if my throat's, if I've been talking a lot or teaching a lot, I always put a little pinch of cayenne pepper in my coffee. So that's kind of
Well,
nice
that's a
too.
good
Yeah,
idea.
I was thinking with that those little red hot peppers that you could get, and the
Fresh pepper?
Yeah, sprinkle that. But cayenne, that's good for you anyway. That's very good.
That'll spice up your life. But basically that's it, folks. So if you did one recipe a week to inspire yourself, to help with your confidence, and just to get excited about cooking again and enjoying life, I think this is one of my favorite recipes for that. And again, this is a Weight Watcher recipe. I saw it and I thought, well, let me give this a try, and I'm really pleased with it. So what did you guys think? Any questions or anything like that? Was that fun?
Yeah,
I learned something, and I really like that idea.
I did too. I did too.
Awesome. Well, the best part is that I have some for you guys to take home. And
Thank
so
you.
thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for letting me tape this, you guys. I really
Yum.
appreciate it. It's good for
Okay,
me.
good.
Yeah, I'm,
Happy cooking,
Yes.
everybody.
well, I'm glad we could be a part of that. Now, are you the Mary that supplies